All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about that last crucial mile in any data warehousing project. You've built this amazing data warehouse. It's powerful, it's full of great data, but how do you actually get that value into the hands of your business users? Let's break it down.
So you've done all the heavy lifting. Your modern data warehouse is up and running in Azure. The data is clean, it's structured, the pipelines are flowing smoothly. But then comes the big question. Now what? I mean, this is the challenge everyone in data faces. How do you actually connect this incredible technical asset to the real-world, everyday decisions that move the business forward?
So where do we start? Well, the very first piece of the puzzle is getting that data out of the database and putting it in front of people in a way they can actually understand and play with. Okay, so step one, you've got to connect that warehouse to what we call a business intelligence tool, or BI tool for short. You can think of this as the user interface for all your data. It's that essential bridge that takes all those raw numbers and tables and transforms them into interactive charts and dashboards that people can actually use to find answers. And since we're playing in the Azure sandbox, the natural choice, the market leader, is Microsoft's own Power BI. So what exactly is Power BI when you get right down to it? You know, Power BI is so much more than just a tool for making pretty charts. It's really the whole shebang. It's a full-on end-to-end BI platform. It's got powerful tools for cleaning and transforming data. It's got amazing interactive features. And, it has a massive library of connectors that lets it talk to pretty much any data source you can think of, especially your Azure data warehouse. That's the next logical question, right? How does this connection actually work under the hood? Well, Power BI gives you two fundamentally different ways to get at the data sitting in your warehouse. Okay, so you've got two main flavors to choose from. First up is import mode. This is where Power BI literally makes a copy of your data and stores it inside its own super fast engine. Performance is incredible, but the catch is your data is only as fresh as the last time you hit refresh. The other option is directquery. This is like a live phone call to your warehouse. Every time you click a visual, it sends a new query. The data is always live, which is great for huge data sets, but it can put a lot more load on your warehouse. Now, connecting directly with Power BI is awesome to get started, but what happens when your whole company starts using it? When you've got dozens or even hundreds of people all trying to get data? Well, that's when you start running into some pretty serious growing pains around consistency, performance, and, security. I mean, just picture it. You have all these users all hitting the warehouse directly. Pretty soon, you have 5 different people with 5 different definitions of total sales. Performance starts to grind to a halt, and trying to manage who can see which bit of data becomes a full-blown nightmare. There has to be a more governed, a more scalable way to do this. And luckily, there is. It's called a semantic layer. And in the Azure world, the go-to tool for building one is Azure Analysis Services, or AAS for short. It's a fully managed service that lets you build this powerful, centralized data model that sits right between your data warehouse and all your end users. So what does the semantic layer actually do for you? Well, it's a total game changer. It translates those cryptic database column names into friendly business terms people actually understand. It lets you define your key metrics and KPIs in one place, just once. And most importantly, it gives you a single, secure, high-performance version of the truth that everyone in the company can rely on. This all sounds fantastic, right? But how in the world does Analysis Services deliver this lightning-fast performance over potentially massive amounts of data? The secret, well, it's under the hood. The magic is something called the VertiPaq engine. This is the same engine that powers Power BI's import mode, and it is blazingly fast. It's an in-memory columnar database, and its absolute superpower is data compression. I mean, it can often shrink data down by 10 times or even more. So how does it pull this off? Well, one of its clever tricks is for numbers, and it's called value encoding. Instead of storing a whole series of big, long numbers, it just stores the first number and then only the small differences between each one that follows. It's a simple idea, but it saves a massive amount of space. Then, for text data, it uses something called dictionary encoding. This is brilliant. It scans a column, finds all the unique text strings, like city names, for instance, and builds a little dictionary. Then, it replaces every single one of those long city names with a tiny little number that just points to the dictionary. It's incredibly efficient. And finally, there's run length encoding. This is perfect when your data is sorted. If the value North America appears 100 times in a row. The engine doesn't waste space storing it 100 times. Nope. It just stores North America once, next to the number 100. Simple, but so effective. So we get what AAS is and how it's so incredibly fast. But how do you actually go about building one of these models and getting it out there? Well, the process is actually very well defined. It all starts on your local machine developing your data model right inside Visual Studio. Once you've got your measures and hierarchies all set, you deploy that model up to your AAS instance in Azure. Then comes the really key step. You process the model. That's when it reaches back to the data warehouse, pulls in all the fresh data, and works its compression magic. And finally, the fun part. Your users connect their tools, like Power BI, directly to that model for super fast, super secure analysis. And when you put all these pieces together, the warehouse, the semantic layer with analysis services, and a great visualization tool like Power BI, what you get is a complete end-to-end analytics architecture that's fast, it's secure, and it's ready to grow with your business. And this whole journey brings us right back to where we started. With this architecture in place, you're not just storing data anymore, you're actually delivering insights. The conversation shifts from technical roadblocks to business possibilities. So the final question isn't about the technology, it's about what you're going to empower your users to do with it first. And that's our look at extending the modern data warehouse. Hey, if this helped you connect some of the dots, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, share it with a colleague, and subscribe for more explainers just like this one. Thanks so much for watching.